What is the deal? It is your boy Marley Betts coming at you live, or previously recorded video from Brothers in Betts talking about the college football playoff semis. Ohio State versus Texas. The line is at 6. I don't have the total written down, but the total is at 53. Let's talk about it, man. Ohio State, Texas. The game is in Arlington, basically a home game for Texas, a couple hours up the road. Both offenses amazing, averaging 36. Let's still short on amazing. But both offenses are averaging over 30 points a game. Ohio State is averaging at 36. Texas is right there at 33. Talking about two of the best defenses in college football, actually ranked number 1 and number 2 in points allowed. Ohio State is only allowing 11 points per game. Texas, 13 points per game. Ohio State is number 1 in points allowed. Texas is number 2 in points allowed. Number 1 in pass yards allowed, number 2 in pass yards allowed. Both are top 10 in rushing yards allowed. So basically, two of the best defenses going up against two really good offenses. Obviously, Ohio State speaks for itself what they've been doing, especially over the last 2 weeks or since the loss to Michigan, which I think is 2 weeks. Completely dominant on both sides of the ball, looking like the best team in college football right now. And, Texas stumbled a little bit last week against Arizona State. Kind of, first half was completely in control of the game, and then obviously went into a double overtime, if I'm not mistaken. They missed some field goals to win it at the end there. Couldn't get the run game established. Gave up a couple sacks to a not very good Arizona State pass rush. Meanwhile, Ohio State, like I said earlier, completely dominated Oregon. I think they was up like 30 points in the first half. Completely, we were all over there, by the way. Ohio State was easy money last week. So let's talk about this matchup, though. It's going to come down to a couple things. Obviously, Ohio State, man, I'm trying my hardest not to fall victim to the recency bias. Because if this game was played a week ago, this line would be closer to a pick 'em, maybe Ohio State -1 or 2, neither side more than 3. But over the last 2 weeks, obviously, Ohio State has looked completely dominant versus a Indiana State team, not Indiana State, but Indiana team, and took apart Oregon last week. The thing to keep in mind is this, though. The thing at least I'm thinking about is this. The Indiana game wasn't even, did we really think Indiana was even supposed to be there? And not Indiana, excuse me, Tennessee, not Indiana, Tennessee. Did we think Tennessee, they were like, the 9th, they were one of the toward the bottom of the SEC teams that got in, or not even SEC teams, just teams that got in toward the end. I didn't think Tennessee would go in there and win that game, although I think I did pick Tennessee to cover. But that was coming off the Michigan loss, and I probably should look more into the whole rivalry factor that game, the way the game played out. But I didn't think Tennessee was going to go into Ohio State in the cold and beat a Ohio State team. I just thought they would cover. And then we look at the Oregon game, which was a revenge game. That's why I was all over Ohio State. I didn't think it was going to be that, no doubt. I didn't think it was going to be that. But I did realize that Ohio State was winning the majority of that game in Oregon, and it was in Oregon, and Oregon won on the last second field goal. So to catch them on a neutral site, think they're a more physical team, Big Ten. Oregon's not really Big Ten yet. They're not built for that. They're not built for the physicality. They built for the speed. Meanwhile, Texas, on the other hand, at least defensively, they built for the physical. They're physical. We're big up. God damn it, I keep saying we, because I'm not a Texas fan like that, but I'm from Texas, so when I see Texas, you get it. They built for that, though. They built, they're physical, big, fast, secondary is good. I think when I look at this game defensively for Texas and offensively for Ohio State, I kind of try to compared to like the Penn State defense. Ohio State scored 20. That was 20-13, 7-point game. I think Penn State was ahead for a majority of that game, at least the first half, maybe 10-0. Could be wrong. But this is probably the best defense since, other than the Penn State defense, that Ohio State has played against, in my opinion. And then do we count the fact that Texas went to Ann Arbor and completely destroyed Michigan? So how do we weigh that without the recency bias? And I'm not gonna lie to you, I agree. Ohio State is looking like the best team right now. I mean, Will Howard's thrown for damn near 3,500 yards, 32 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. QBR is at 87.3. Henderson, he's averaging 7.3 yards per carry, 10 touchdowns on the season, almost 1,000 yards. And then Jeremiah Smith, the fucking freshman, dominated Oregon. You know what I mean? Over 1,200 yards on the season, 14 touchdowns. Just a fucking freshman. But Texas secondary is better than Oregon, is better than Penn State. I don't think the D line might not be better than Penn State, but it's comparable. I think the linebackers are better, more athletic. And I think Texas' offense poses more of a threat than Penn State offense did. Not maybe as much as Oregon, but man, I just felt like they were so dialed in for that Oregon game. I think Ohio State wins this game. The question we're talking about is, do they cover the 6? Home game for Texas, basically. I know Ohio State fans travel well. Ohio State will be in the building, but still, home game for Texas. Underdog role. I think this might be one of the first, no more than 2 times, maybe 3 max. I'm thinking this might be the first time, though. First time they've been an underdog. I'm sure Stark is stroking those underdog flames paws. Gotta be. All the hype, all the talk about Ohio State scares me, and I wish this line was at a 3, but I gotta take the 6. I just think defensively, both teams. I mean, we talk about the number 1 and number 2 defense. Yes, Arizona State scored 30 plus, took 2 overtimes. Texas was well in control of this game in the first half. You know, Scatterboo made a couple plays. I do think Ohio State wins this game, but I just think it's going to be a close game. I think both defenses are going to give both offenses a trouble. This is going to be the question. This is the question of everything. Can Texas run the ball? If they can't run the ball, then we could be looking at a fucking blowout unless the defense can stand up. If they can establish the run, then it is a wrap. I am not going to lie to you. If Ohio State front makes them one-dimensional and you relying on Ewers to sit back and throw the ball like that, and don't get me wrong, Ewers isn't bad. I mean, over 3,000 yards, 21 touchdowns, 11 picks, missed a couple games, right? Been injured. But you got to get Contravion Wisner going. He's only averaging 4.9 yards a carry. I mean, 5 yards carry is good. 1,000 yards on the season, but only 5 touchdowns. That's crazy. I think you got to be able to run the ball. Because if they can't run the ball and you just letting Ohio State D-line pin their ears back and get to Quinn Ewers, they will do that. And we already know Texas is a little banged up on the offensive line. So, but think they can find creative ways to run the ball. I don't know if they're not going to just be able to line up and just run it down Ohio State's throat. That's not going to happen. But they got to be successful and at least enough to keep the linebackers and keep the defense honest. They just got to make it respectable. They got to respect the run so you can open up the pass. I think they can have success throwing the ball. I think the talent is overall with the wide receivers on UT, the speed. But if they can't establish the run and they're just making Ewers drop back and throw the ball, then it's going to be a long night. Ohio State easy. But home crowd at the crib, underdog roll, more than almost a touchdown. I think by game time, we get the touchdown. I get the 7. That's what I really want. I want the 7, not the 6. If I can get the 7, I'm all over 7. But I'm going to hold my nose, man. I'm not going to lie. It's not particularly, this will not be a heavy bet, a unit at best, probably a half a unit bet. I'm really thinking about, I'm going to take the 6, Hoping I can get a 7. The heavier bet for me will be on the Penn State Notre Dame game. Go check that video out, by the way. Penn State Notre Dame at Brothers and Bets. Gonna go heavy on that game. Might do a money line parlay with this one with Ohio State, but I'm on the 6. Video purposes, show purposes, and personal bets. I will be on the 6, holding out for a 7. I think they cover, but I do think Ohio State wins this game. No sprinkle on the money line on this one. Give me the 6, but we're holding out for the money line. I mean, we're holding out for the 7. Excuse me. And as always, people, may the odds ever be in your favor. And let's beat Vegas. We out this motherfucker.
Check it out. Look, we from the bottom, ain't no problems, we gon' make a way. Got no coach on the field, but we making plays. Hey, look, don't worry, we gon' be okay. Hey, look, why? Cause we gon' make them pay.